Hello and welcome back, joined by my glorious co-host Freddie. It's the Enjoy Anime Talkshow. This week we're going to try a slightly different format. I feel that the show has reached, Freddie, a themes and topics kind of point. Would you agree with this?
Yeah, I would.
So I'm going to give us the way the episodes of episode 10, 11, 12 work out. I feel 10 and 11 are a little duo. Would you agree?
Yes, I very much would agree with that.
Okay. So in episode 10, which is called Magma Diver, we continue the notion of angels coming from like the Earth's mantle. And we go diving with Asuka in her fabulous suit.
Yep.
Also,
two modes.
Yeah, and it's on Unit 2 as well.
Yep.
And then in episode 11, Asuka makes her the leader of hide and seek in the dark while they try and find Nerv headquarters, while it's alluded to be sabotaged and attacked by an angel at the same time. So, my question, dearest Fred, what do you think they're trying to give us with Asuka? Do you feel that she is a new protagonist? Is she being introduced maybe as a mirror to Shinji, as she's we discussed before, she's very outgoing, very outspoken, big ego.
Yeah.
But do we see moments of this or loss of this? What do you think?
Well, we certainly see a loss of it at the end of episode 11, I would say. The two episodes as a whole, though, yeah, she feels like she's being introduced as I wouldn't say as a replacement main character, but she does have a bit of main character energy, but it's in world, I suppose it's a quite believable sense of energy that she believes she is the center of her story, which I suppose is true.
Everyone's the hero of their own tale, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And in this case, actually making Shinji less of the singular main character definitely helps it feel like everyone's a person. It's not, here is the person you're following, he's the hero, he's the guy who's going to save everyone. Here's some like side characters. I think you might disagree with me a little bit on this, but I feel like Asuka, that is, has quite strong Trinity from the first Matrix in particular energy.
Okay, so what leads you to that conclusion?
Just, I don't know, the very strong female kind of...
Yeah. She can definitely look after herself. She's aware of her world very strongly. The bit that I find interesting with Asuka is she describes herself always on standby, so she's always ready to fight, which makes me wonder, like, her personality is a shield for dealing with the world. Like, she has to be the best EVA pilot. She actually proves that she's more intelligent than a school score show, when I can use my mouth. Because Masato challenges her, and she thinks she's smarter than Masato by hiding her scores under the sofa. But then she also wants approval. So she wants, like, the approval of Mr. Kaji buying a swimsuit. And then later on, when Shinji's being made to do his homework, she appears in the swimsuit and wants his attention or approval for it, because they're not allowed to go on a school trip, are they, to some springs? And it's those moments where it feels like a slip of the mask, where it's like, I do think she's a strong character, and I think she's got a lot of self-belief, but every so often she just wants that, but is it really? Is this the right thing? like guidance. And then later on, we'll talk about some of the stuff in the Magma Diver episode in a moment. But I think in episode 11, where they're doing the pilot test for mental harmonics, I think it's called.
Yep, the harmonics testing. Yeah. Yes.
Shinji's praised and described as it's like he was born to pilot an Eva. And she has to jump in with, but his score's not as good as mine. I've got the best score. And they're like, that's true, but he's also had the largest growth and shows the most potential.
Yeah,
and
he's
she
had the
doesn't like that.
least training.
Yeah.
He's had the least training and has grown the most. You are the highest score-wise, but very soon he's going to be matching you, if not overtaking you.
I mean, we've seen that Shinji's potentially stronger than Asuka from the dance episode because she's so strong-willed and she has to lead and she has to be in charge, which episode 11 we'll get to. She has to be the leader while they're lost, and she's the leader in the battle. She has to be in charge. And if that's how she is, that's fine. But she keeps showing flaws, which is good for her personality, because there'd be nothing more frustrating than a second protagonist being introduced as Mr. Perfect, Miss Perfect. Everything is just like, breathing for them. And for her, it's all training. It's like an example that comes to mind when you get someone who's driven for a long time and they get stuck behind a learner driver and you just hear them like tutting and going, oh, what, this guy's going so slow, and people forget that they used to be that person. They've not, and they've stopped developing, they've stopped growing because they've like, oh, I've got to the finish line, I don't need to do more.
I have achieved perfection, as opposed to perfection is the unattainable goal.
Yeah, it's not that I could be better, and that's maybe due to Asuka's age.
Yeah, I mean, what, she's 14?
14, 15, and she's very capable, multilingual, been trained really hard for the production model Eva. She is exceptionally competent, and she's maybe veering into overconfidence.
Yeah, as something to possibly think about. It might be to do with also the fact that, given that she is German, she would probably feel like kind of alone in the sense that she's like one of the only foreigners.
Yeah,
possibly.
That's an interesting point I'd not considered.
Something to think about, but
she does have frailties. She's very big on her appearance, because as soon as she's told we're going into the magma, she's like, it's me, I'm doing it, I'm going to be the hero, I'm going to collect. And we need to talk about the sample. They tried to steal another angel egg. Gendo is so up for child snatching. And then they're like, to operate in lava, you need a special suit.
Which had been foreshadowed with the thermodynamics homework.
Yes. I had noted that that crumb.
Yeah, the angel is also then, the way the angel is defeated is also foreshadowed by the very same thing.
Yeah. Everything's thermodynamics. And, it shows... So, Asuka explains the base principles of thermodynamics to Shinji.
I'm guessing it's also for the viewers.
Yeah.
As well.
But then it shows how quickly he can adapt that information in combat. Or Asuka does. Does he relay it to her? I'm going off memory badly.
What does he relay?
Does he? I mean, other than the interesting knife throw, is it Asuka who's like, oh, if I use this tube that's keeping me cool,
Pretty sure it was her.
it's
Yes.
just her. So
Yeah.
I do apologise going a little bit off memory on that. I did enjoy the knife throw moment in that episode as well, just for as a little distraction.
Oh, we discussed that.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with it, but
I enjoyed.
there are there are worse things to be disgruntled at.
Yeah. I just as a distraction, my humor of Shinji will drop you the knife relayed to Asuka, and Shinji just absolutely yeets it into the magma. Like,
Yeah, he was
YOLO.
very good form throwing it
Yeah.
as well. It's like he's practiced.
Yeah. Maybe he just wants to upgrade to the spear Asuka's
say-
allowed to use.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going for like spearfishing, but
Oh, no. Not this time.
he's not an Eskimo in a past life.
No. So, she tries to get the egg.
Yep.
The egg hatches.
She does get the egg. Yeah, she gets the egg. It hatches. It attacks her.
It attacks her. I've got under lava combat into knife throw into lava and thermal expansion. Homeworks pays off.
Yep.
We get lava manta ray.
We do.
But so there we go. This is your note, I think. Towards the end of the episode, they actually get to go to the hot baths. Masato and Asuka.
You get the gratuitous hot bath scene of Misato and Asuka the bath with mystery
storytelling in there.
There is. You get to see the scar on her chest, on Misato's chest. You also get the embarrassment of Shinji having puberty because
he's 14.
Yeah, he's 14. And you were very happy that you got to see Pen Pen again.
Yeah, I'm always happy to see Pen Pen in an episode. It definitely ups the score for me.
That's what you're watching it for. That's your hook.
Yeah, just penguins. I'm gonna actually maneuver Freddy out and just play Club Penguin. See if we can topple the Antarctic. One last thing before we move into episode 11. For me, at the end of episode 10 and the spa scene, I think we get some breadcrumbs into Masato's authority.
Yeah, we do. Yes.
Herbie pointing out to Asuka, like, she's quite proud of her, but just to remind her she's in charge, and it's a secret agency. Like, getting information on her isn't hard.
Yeah, it's a case of, like, if you end up in the secret services and it's like, oh, someone in the secret services is trying to hide information from you. It's like,
yeah.
Really?
Is that the best she can do?
Yeah.
And then we move into episode 11, and it's very slice of life to begin with.
Yeah, the laundry day bit, I was actually really quite happy to see that. To see it's like the characters who are in the control room, it shows that they
have a life.
Yeah, it's not just here is person who sits behind a desk. What happens when the camera's off? I sit behind the desk.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so your clothes just stay clean? Oh, well, no, I don't do the...
I think it's a little bit the reason why Evangelion stays so popular is they maneuver through stylizations really well, and it feels natural. They're telling a story, but reminding you that the characters are very human. They're developing and growing, but they still have base needs, desires.
And it includes a lot of things that could easily be dropped at the roadside, which works very well.
Yeah, and sometimes, I think the thing that Evangelion does very well compared to some animes is the interactions don't always have to be big, noticeable. They can just be subtle motions. One of the moments I quite enjoy a little bit further on while they're trapped in the blackout is someone's like, oh, the upper management always seem so cool. And they've snuck buckets in to stand in to... They're like, oh, we must maintain this facade at all costs. And that cost is 2 buckets of water. That was just a little... And that's a nice... Given what the episode's trying to do, it's trying to give sense of fear. A reliance on technology is talked about. As they manually release the Evas. And I think there's a lot of just little points like that that really help. And those little comedy moments sort of relieve the tension enough for the tension to come back.
Yeah, because if he tends the whole time, you're either going to snap, as it were. You're either going to go, no, I don't care for this, or it's going to lose its effect. You'll either bend or break. But if it goes away and comes back, it actually keeps its effect.
Yeah. Now, you may have to correct me when I'm here. So, episode 11, in the startness, or I'm calling it the power cut episode. This is, I believe, the first explanation of the Nerv computer system that's called Magi.
Is it the Nerv computer system? Because it was described as the
central
3
dogma.
Yeah, the 3 supercomputers who run democracy.
Yes, which is, again, when I was talking about this episode talks about a reliance on technology to fix problems. Their priority is to keep 3 computer systems running.
Yeah.
But it seems the central dogma that Nerv have the brain for it? Question mark?
Maybe, yeah. At the very least, it's the computers are either powered by the same system that Nerv is, or it's probable, given that Nerv is supposed to be like humanity's bastion, its final bastion. It would make sense that the computers are somewhere in Nerv.
Yeah.
However, it's not been explicitly stated yet. So
it doesn't yet. And the power cut is potentially linked to a problem with Eva 2.
I believe they mentioned that they are having launch issues or activation issues with Eva 2. They are being troubleshooted. But then when they mention that the power cut happened, they mention that's likely due to sabotage.
Yeah.
Given that it's primary, secondary, and tertiary systems all going down.
Yeah.
I personally reckon that they're not related unless it's stated. Otherwise, I don't recall it being stated.
Okay.
But I thought they said it was sabotage.
They do describe it as sabotage, but...
My reason, again, is that Eva 2, later in the episode, is functional.
Yeah.
However, power is still down, so if it was to do with Eva 2 causing the issues, then when Eva 2 is working, it wouldn't add up.
I understand. But one of the things that they later talk about is, there's an implication that somehow the angels have affected the power supply. That's
what I thought was happening. That's what I thought the angels, one of its special powers, this episode's flavor of angel was
vomit.
Well, yeah, but it was. So I thought the angel itself was styled after. Is it a water skater?
Yes.
I got that feeling, but then I was like, okay, so maybe the legs are used as like an antenna for disrupting electric or
Okay.
electromagnetic waves to help disable electronic systems, and then it goes there and just sits over a target and cries acid.
Yeah.
So
The
that was my
antennas
reasoning.
is an interesting point you bring up. I'd not
Mm.
come to that. The attack methodology reminded me of one of my favorite animes, Guyver, and
Mm-hmm.
the villains are like monster of the week, Power Ranger kind of things called Zoinoids, and one of them is called Enzyme, and there's an Enzyme too. They look the same, but their key thing is their blood and attack is spitting acid, and if you cut them, they bleed acid. A little bit
Very
like a
aliens.
Xenomorph, yeah. And that's what made me think of when they pop open the hatch and we see the eyeball reveal, and then it's like,
Yeah,
gross.
the body with many eyeballs, which again
Yeah,
kind of goes towards that Cthulhu-esque
yeah.
idea that I've
I mean
posited before.
the is it last week we talked about the balloon enemy that falls from space, or is that episode 12? I think that
That
was last week.
is quickly scanning through notes. That is next episode.
Is it the next episode? Yeah, there's a
Yes.
big eyeball vibe with the angels now.
Yeah. So the very first angel we had like a little mask,
Yeah,
which I also recognised was very similar to the one which split into two, the red and the
yeah,
blue one. That also had quite a similar style of mask.
yeah,
Not quite the same, but similar. It either seems to be mask or a focus on eyeballs.
yeah. It could be. I mean, the first angel very much was like a plague doctor vibe with the
Yeah.
But now we're getting anatomically correct angels. Is it wings and eyeballs, as the internet has led us to believe with cryptids?
Well, I don't read into that. I don't.
Well, maybe
I
we
try to
should.
avoid it.
There is a lot of
Maybe.
religious symbology in this show, especially the opening credits, which maybe we need to talk about at some point, but not today.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get the Asuka Delta attack force in this,
Yep.
where she gets to pick who's defense, who's decoy, and who's the attacker.
I'd like to mention at the end of this episode, Asuka specifically gives up the offensive role to Shinji
as revenge. Or as
revenge
payback.
for saving his life.
Yeah.
Or saving her life even. Whether or not it's from the previous episode or earlier in the current episode, it's not really stated.
Yeah. There is, she comments that it's like, it's this way because you did it. It happened the other way, so this pays back whatever. Which was an interesting dynamic to choose. Ray's the decoy, though, isn't she? Or is she the decoy?
I think she was the decoy.
Right. That's right.
The way my head seems to have remembered it is Shinji was offensive. Then it was
Ray's the decoy.
Asuka was like the higher, the more important secondary character, and then Ray was just tertiary.
Yeah. That's how.
I feel bad, but that's how.
That's how I think she sees it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose. Yeah. Through Asuka's vision, it's quite possible that Ray is just Shinji. At least has presence.
Yeah.
He tries to make himself known, even though it's might be in her eyes pathetic and weedy and blah 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 blah. Ray is just like, I am not going to be there for you.
Very true. So yeah, we get some drama in a slice of life episode, which becomes a mecha hero versus monster of the week moment.
Yep. Yeah. Another, just a final overarching point. These two episodes are focused quite heavily with Asuka.
Yep.
And it feels like the episodes, maybe compared to the previous ones, have also felt a lot calmer, or
Okay.
a lot. I've described them as they feel more slice of life. They are not slice of life. They just feel closer to it.
Yes.
That could contrast with Asuka's character,
Okay.
given that she is the more loud, bombastic character.
Mm.
Yeah, increased contrast. You notice it more.
Yeah.
But again, so episode 10 felt more so. Episode 11 felt like both of them have been toned down. Asuka feels less like she's being a bombastic character. She's giving up control, a little bit of control, to Shinji, and the episode feels less slice of life.
Yeah.
Going into episode 12, this goes further. It feels pretty much like she's not much of a focus in this episode.
Yeah, the next episode is very interesting for me. I know I keep fetching up counselling. Because we start with a flashback of... We see a girl being... It's like the reverse Gendo Ray, where a man jams a girl into a entry plug, and it's flushed out to sea. We see an angel, an absolutely colossal being.
Yeah, that was very much a case of, oh, they are a global pair of wings. You could see that probably from the moon.
I can see my house from here if it wasn't destroyed.
If there
And
wasn't a
it's
purple green
revealed to be Masato as a child.
Yeah, you get the impression, but it's like, oh, it could be Masato or it could be someone else.
Yes.
However, they have this... The way they... Yeah, I guess the point they prove is that they focus quite heavily on a cross that she's wearing.
Yes.
And then when it cuts back to the future at the end of the flashback, you see the cross again that she's no longer wearing.
Yeah.
Although, again, what you were saying before about the idea of the opening, the symbology with the religious symbology, I was going, oh, they focus a lot on the cross, the religious symbol that she's wearing.
Yeah. I believe she's worn it previously when she's gone to visit the schools as well. She's got like a crucifix neck collar thing.
Oh, possibly.
But we also see how she gets the scar at the end of the flashback too. Before future jumping, she gets out the shower and we see all the reveal of those things, so we can go, it's her. And she's been promoted.
She has, yes. It's mentioned by, was it Toji and NPC Cameraman?
Yes. They're very big on her getting promoted.
Well, they're very big on her in general.
Very true. Thankfully, they draw them mostly from the waist up.
We're not going there. They mention it. It's Shinji's not noticed it, I suppose, but then it's because NPC Cameraman, his big thing being
the military.
Yeah. Yes, you see it in Asuka's introduction episode where he's big into the Navy, and then he knows the, what do you call it? The symbols on the...
Yeah. He understands the athlets. Is it athlets? Or are they the shoulder markings? But he recognises the positional markings on formal dress.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, she's got an extra stripe. She's
going
up in the world.
So, at the end of the house party episode that they're having, you get Shinji asking Misato why she's
got promoted.
Well, I guess doing what she's doing. Why she? Yeah. Well, yeah. But why she's in Nerv? Why she's?
Yeah. And
it feels like Shinji's doing a bit of soul searching, and he's like, "I want to hear your answer to try and help me figure out my answer."
I think he's growing as a person. That's what this show's definitely giving us, is how the relationships help each other grow. But Misato takes Shinji across for the harmonics testing we mentioned before. Retsuko describes him, it's like he was born to be an either pilot. We get the previously mentioned Asuka upset. Gendo returns to the scene of his crime. So it's revealed he's actually the reason for the original second impact. And then, as I alluded to before we get the, as my notes put it, the space flavor angel, and it goes into kamikaze mode, where its method is to just be ball.
What are you going to do? I will use kinetic force of gravity to smash you apart.
I will use my ability to fly into space and then just fall.
Yeah, you mentioned before the idea that you think that all the angels seem to hatch in the mantle.
I don't know if I think they hatch there, but
well, yeah, maybe not.
Maybe a nursery space.
Yeah, but regardless, you get Space One, who is detaching parts of itself and sort of using them to test accuracy.
Yeah.
And you get a scene where all the three pilots, the children,
play catch.
Are asked if they they play catch. They also get asked if they want to make a will, which I think
do.
Asking,
which is. And they all say no, which feels like what's a 14-year-old? Who are they going to give it to? Are they going to give it to the dad?
Yeah.
What happens to Shinji's tape player? We know these are important questions.
Very.
Does anyone get his train ticket?
I was going to say, having Asuka feel like she wouldn't write a will because she's going to be the bombastic, all confident character. She's not going to die. She doesn't need a will.
Yeah.
Rei feels like she would be like, I don't care. Society will sort out the issue. Shinji feels like he could write a will. However, I can't remember if he's the last person to answer, but at this point it's like social pressure. If everyone else has said no, social pressure is going to be, you say no.
That's an interesting take, and I like the questioning that could lead to. But I will think about that and get back to you. How did you feel about the angel this episode?
It felt like a bop it, but hey ho.
It was weird that the entire world's fate revolved around a game of balloon chase.
Yeah, I was really hoping they were going to do like the volleyball idea of, just go for the volleyball,
bat it around,
pose, and just hit it back up. Basically, be like, it's gone now. We got it over the net, and it's never seen again.
Yeah, it turns into the origin of haiku. But it felt a bit deflating that it's a balloon that they just jam with a knife, and then the balloon's like, guess I'll self-destruct.
Well, my premise failed, so I guess just had to try and blow you up. Has it worked before? No, but you know what they say about things, about trying the same thing again with...
I want to ask one last thing before we go. This episode, did you notice that Shinji has been asking the same question to everyone? So why do you do it? Why do you do the thing that you do?
Yeah, this is why I said it felt like he's asking other people to get their answers to figure out his own answer.
Yes.
Now, end of the episode, he figures it out.
Daddy.
And he wants head pats from his dad.
Yes.
And
I want to be the best boy.
Yeah, I feel like that's not going to go well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the heart wants what the heart wants. You can't really.
That is very true. And you see when he gets praise of other characters, he doesn't know if he can accept it. Like, Retsuko, this episode praises him. Previously, Masato has been a parental character to him. I'd love to talk about the cast as a transactional analysis, but that's something else. But whenever he sees this, when he sees these things, he's unsure if he can take it, but he can take it from his dad. It's loud.
Yeah.
But that's all of the episodes. I feel we got a lot in. If you've enjoyed us...
We were time limited today.
We were, yes. We're rushing against time. But if you've enjoyed this, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to date. Liking the videos, commenting. If you were a sharer, we love you for that. We're halfway through, Freddy. How do you feel?
I don't know. I feel like we're a third of the way through.
Interesting.
Yeah, it feels like they've nailed a good opening so far, and now we're about to get into like the meat of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for stopping by. Thank you, Freddie, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
We'll see you again.
Bye bye.